Hi guys, Retro Tech Ralph here. I've got a repair video now for you. I've been given this controller to repair for a friend I work with. This is the Xbox One, it's the original version. It's the one with the independent shiny part at the top here anyway. Not like mine, the pink one that I've got, that the entire front fascia is moulded as it is. So this part here is separate to that part there. So you can tell the differences between them both there quite easily. Top to top. Internally they work virtually exactly the same, I assume, but I haven't been inside this one. If you have, like I do, I use this for my PC gaming because I don't have an Xbox One, then you'll need one of these Xbox dongles so you can get it paired with the system. But once you've done that, go download the app for Windows accessories, I think it is. Not Windows, Xbox accessories. And then you pair this with it, and then you can go through a diagnostic. Now, mine works fine because we repaired that one not long ago to get the joystick working fine, and it worked perfectly fine. That was an entire resolder of the joystick mechanism underneath, which was not entirely easy to do, but not impossible either. This one, the guy's saying that the trigger buttons don't work. So I've paired this to my computer, updated the firmware as well while it was there, so you might as well do that. Found out that it's actually this bumper button, the top button. It is clicking, but it's barely showing anything with it. So it's when you really press hard, it will show a connection on the diagnostic tools on your Xbox accessories app. Yes. So what I want to do is strip this down. Now, first job is take the battery pack off, take the batteries out. If you have never been inside one of these before, you can either remove this sticker or, like what I'm going to do, it's not under warranty at all, I'm going to just cut a circle in here. Nice neat circle, doesn't get rid of any of the numbers, it just exposes a screw underneath. Now I need to find another 4 screws for this. If you didn't watch the last video, so I need some plastic tools. I could use a spudger if I want, I could use that if I want. I prefer things that are plastic that I'm not going to destroy things with. So these 2 parts here are extra. So what I want to do is go from the trigger button here, lift up, expose a little bit, come alongside, and that's almost off. Now, it was easier on the other one when I did that, so it's just clipped in place. There you go. Very easy, nothing's broken. It sounds like things cracked, but they're not. There's clip, 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 little guiders on both sides. Exposed these 2 screws here. It is a good opportunity when you do this that you can get things clean, which I will do. So raise up again on that corner, get your spudger in, run alongside, little click on that side. It should click the other side, but it's not doing. So you can tell there. This is what happens with joysticks, joypads, is when you're playing them, your sweaty hands, the skin from your hands will, you do shed skin, that's not what humans do. And it's the grease and the gunk that just collect along these joints. And it's best to make sure, there we go, that things are clean when they're done. I mean, as these come off, these will be cleaned. I mean, you can see there's a lovely bit of somebody else's goo there and down here, which I clean with isopropanol. It kills absolutely everything. I clean my hands thoroughly, even before there was any issues with coronavirus and stuff like that. So, get me 2 parts in there. Put other parts in as well. Done and happy. So I'm this level now. Now I need a torque bit, a security torque bit, because there's a little pin in the middle of these screws. So I need to find, is it that one? No, I have got tons over here anyway. It might be this one. Yeah. So I get my little screwdriver, undo edge, see the The biggest difference between this and the version I've got is that top section where you've got the pairing button. Not the Wi-Fi button, the on-off switch one with the Xbox logo on the top, with it all being moulded in. I assume that for the Mark IIs, I don't know what they're actually called, but the second versions of them, they are just kind of moulded into the plastic because it looks better, or they might have problems, I don't know. I'm having problems here getting this out. Now, if I had a pair of tweezers, I don't know, I have lost my tweezers. Cool, or not cool. So I want to get that out there. That might fall out on its own. Oh, there you go. Okay, that doesn't seem to want to work. And I've found my tweezers. There we go. So that's 4 screws out from the sides, 1 in the middle as well. I think it's a T8 screw. It's got obviously got the hole in the centre, which you need because it's a security bit. Otherwise you're just going to knacker things up. So 5 screws out in my pot, done, sorted. Now, front part comes off very easily. That just slides straight off. It's screwed in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. Looks a little bit, no, that's fine. Now what I need is to take the back off as well. That just falls straight off without any problems. Need to watch out for the battery parts when we get round to putting this back in place. I don't bend these back in place afterwards. Now, it's the left shoulder button I have the problem with. It looks like, I don't know what it is. So to take this front part off, the little bit of prise underneath there. I watched a video and it says use a flat bladed screwdriver. I prefer plastic stuff because it will not damage that much. Now, I think that comes off. Does that come off separately? No, that can't come off separately. According to his video, it just said that it comes off with the shoulder buttons. I think, does that come off there? Yeah. Come on. That's kind of a little tricky. I think it's connected to the bottom as well. There it is. These parts here, they're just looped over. Once that is off, that should, oh no, that comes out on it separate. The only problem I had with the other ones was these motors on the bottom there. They keep just slipping out all the time. There were also, surprisingly, 2 motors in the trigger buttons as well. So you've got 4 motors doing the vibration action, which is quite good. So that part's off. I thought that would come off with this. Now I don't fully know why that ain't working, because that is pushing against this switch here, which is the shoulder button. I'll leave that one on because I need to get to this level anyway, so we can see what's inside of here. That's definitely pressing against there, but I don't think the button's working properly. But it might be just a case with this one, with a lot of things like this, they're just gunked up with goo, grease and yeah, happy bits. I can take those bits off as well, give them all a good clean later on. But everything else does seem to work on this. I need to remove that, the wireless button as well. That's quite dirty, to be honest. I might be doing something today. I think, to be honest, I might replace that switch. It might just be a case of the plastics might be a little bit worn. Yeah, the other side just clicked into place. Get one up and the other up, and that's off. So it's this switch I'm looking at, or am I looking at the Wi-Fi button, that one there, little one. It's that switch I'm actually having the problems with. What I need to do is, as it is, pair this up with the PC and see if that button actually works fine. Because this will still pair up, it's still got all the electronics, everything's still in there. I'm not entirely happy about having that loosened down, but the trigger button does hold in, it's being held in by the shoulder button as well. It's a lot of these, like I say, they are kind of prone to being clogged up with human crap, shall we say. And that's the whole thing with a lot of these. I can get a right-handled switch, so that's not an issue to get a part like that, and I can unsolder it from the back. It might even be a dry solder joint. Let me get in a bit further, because that's the back of it right there, and it looks a bit like these two may be a little bit dry. Is it that switch? It is definitely that switch, isn't it? Yeah, these 4 parts here. It could be as simple as that, a dry solder joint. But the other side's going exactly the same as well. So it might benefit from a damn good clean on here to get things back working. It could even be a case of the cable as well for the trigger, which is there, that is just kind of in the way. I know it's not supposed to be there. Just got to figure out exactly where that goes. It's the problem with being zoomed in too much. I'll go out of my way. So where that goes underneath there, I'll have to check from the other one. Comes underneath here, and then it goes. We'll just go underneath there anyway, and it's just underneath where. Yeah, it looks like it goes there, and it's hidden by the shoulder button. So let me pair this up as it is, most of the right way around. Trying to be careful so I don't break any wires, so I don't have to do extra work than what I have to do. But so far it's either a case of replacing that switch, resoldering, reflowing the solder on it, and giving it a spruce up, a clean up, a bit of oil on the joysticks to make this back to as it should be. There doesn't seem to be anything. If it's pushing too hard on the switch, then it's definitely a problem. Yeah, let me get this paired up and let me see if I can test this button on its own without the trigger plastics being on there. Now I've got the program on. I am testing the button and it comes up with it is working, but not all the time. So it's potentially a damaged switch. It just needs oiling. Maybe some sort of grease may have gotten into here. Everything else seems to work fine on button wise on the screen, except that is just a little bit. That's fine. Yeah, it's patchy, and obviously when you press in, there are obviously certain things. It might be a accelerator, it might be a brake button. I don't know what game it is playing, but everything else does work perfectly fine. Does that show up on a button, that one? On the, oh, that's interesting. When you do the diagnostic, the wireless button doesn't show that it's testing, although it does work. And that just comes up with my Xbox account details and friends and stuff like that. So let me start off by doing the dry solder joint and see if that works by just reflowing the solder on the back, and see if that fixes this pretty much straight away. Now I've reflowed the solder on the switch. I've got the test program on at the moment. Right, hold on. Test program on. Left, right, up, down works fine. That works fine. I'm going to re-oil those anyway. Right, let's test that button. Yes, that button. Everything works fine. Now let me press that one. It is coming up every time. No. No, that's a switch fault. It is better, which is worrying me a little bit. No. One press then didn't. Certain parts of the button, it doesn't want to work. So I need to buy a new one of those switch parts there. Right-handled switch. I might have got something like that already here. I was hoping that maybe it'd be a case of replace that, well, either replace that or possibly where this trigger goes onto it and presses on. If it wasn't pressing enough, I could just put a bit of tape on the end of there, make it closer to the switch, and then when it clicks in, it would click more of. But it's, I'd say it definitely has helped. It's definitely not perfect. So I think, yeah, I'm not unclicking it, I'm just moving the plastic over the button, and it is showing it's on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off all the time. See how it's flickering like crazy? So it's pressed in, but it's not. Yeah, need to get that out and get this sorted. I have taped up already the motors on here, stop them falling out. So what I need to do is desolder this switch. This switch, yep. And redo. And get a new switch. And that should be the fix for this. Switch is desoldered. Pick up as much solder as you can off the back of here, because when you want to refit a new one of these, you want it just to go straight in and no faffing. So what I need to do, because that one will go, just drop straight back in, not a problem with the new one when it comes around to being here. So I'll look in my stock, see what I've got of these. They are just standard, well, nearly standard push switches. Quite nice to click to them, but yeah, if I've got one, we'll carry on the video. If not, then it'll be a quick jump cut for you and you'll see it being done. But yeah, you want your back to look a little bit like that. So all the solder's gone, so it'll just drop straight into those 4 holes and be like that one when I finish resoldering. And this should, hopefully, work fine being replaced. So let's get a part ordered. 2 minutes later. Now, I don't have to order anything. A recent dismantling, I didn't film it, but at least recent dismantling of a Toshiba television. These are the buttons which are on the front panel, back panel, I don't know. But there will be absolutely nothing wrong with any of these buttons. 6, 7. That's the power, channel up, channel down, volume up, volume down, menu, video. How many people, how many of you guys out there have a normal television, a flat screen TV, and use the buttons on them? When the TV that's in front of me at the moment, I've got a TV to the right I use as monitors. I don't use them. I don't think the person before me used them either, so these are absolutely perfect. The only difference you've got between the original button is one's black, one's white. Sorry, but that's all the differences. The pin out is exactly the same. There are 4 pins, 2 thick, which holds the chassis down, 2 thin, which do the pins, are the pins of the button. So what I'm going to do is I'll feel, that feels more clicky at the power button, surprisingly. Actually, I'm going to take the channel up. I should actually use the menu, to be honest. The only one that actually be used is probably the menu of the power when you first got the television. Yeah, I'm going to pick one of these and just take it off, resolder it back in. As simple as that. I mean, keeping hold of parts from dismantling stuff is sometimes a good thing. And that will fit directly into our controller. So let me get desoldering and resoldering, and this should be a very easy fix for me, and I can get this controller back to him. Now, soldering done. Desoldered off the board here, took that one off. There are slightly different things to it. I think It should work, even though this one has got the metal plate behind, giving it more structure to stop it falling backwards that way. But this one hasn't. But it should be fine. I might actually strengthen the switch in behind here with some hot glue, trying to make it a bit more solid as I can, as much as I can. But what I need to do now, put the back on, press the triggers in. If you're going to put this in, it slots almost straight in. Just hold it in place, okay. Batteries are over here, one that way, and one that way. So, my batteries don't want to stay in. Ah, that's why. Right, if you don't stay in, it means you haven't put this in right. These two pins haven't come through. So, try again. Gently, there we go, they're through now. Yeah, I haven't cleaned up yet, don't worry, that's to come. So, in, and in. Better. Right. So, diagnostic program on the screen is there now. Pair by turning it on. That is pairing nicely, like a real-time video. Coming on. Nice little circle going round. Get it done. Done. Right. So, configure. Up, down, left, right works fine. The right trigger doesn't because I haven't put it back in right. The left trigger doesn't because I haven't put that in properly. I'll have to leave that out. Come on, Ralph. You can do it. There you go. Right, left button works fine. It's really sensitive now. Let's try this trigger button. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Every time I press in, works. Work. On, off. No flickering, no nothing. That's working fine. Now I want the trigger button itself to go in, and that be there, because there's a small chance that this could be constantly pressed. Oh, I've got that button pressing now, perfect. It just clicks in place very nicely. See, I think the problem with it is most people will hold, they won't just press, but they'll really force into it, which worries me a little bit about that back of here. So with everything on, will that cover over? Right, it's that extra part here which will cover everything over. Now, what I'm going to do, I don't think I'll bother with this one, is if you can look properly, there we go. The metal plate is behind this one and this one hasn't. It's nipped in, but I don't think it should hold fine, I think. But I'm going to put a dab of hot glue, let that dry solid. This plastic part here goes over everything. Covers over the switch, which you can see through this piece of plastic here once it's on. And I don't want to do too much because I need to get inside this. So I can actually fill this here, let me show you the tweezers, between the back of the button here and all this area with hot glue, which will dry to an almost, not a solid plastic, but it'll be more than enough what is needed. There's nothing on here which presses into that gap. The other thing is the Wi-Fi button. And once I find the Wi-Fi button, which is there, right, let me have a look. That slides into there, that way around. As you can see. Right, so again, that's fine. Left button fine, right button, left trigger, right trigger, everything works fine. Okay, cool. So, left trigger down. They do seem to stick for some reason. I don't know why. It's a bit of a weird thing. So all I need to do is fill that with hot glue. Yeah, that's perfect. Maybe I could put something underneath here to stop the person pressing too hard on the trigger. It doesn't take much, but it should stop there and shouldn't press any further onto the switch. But I should be. I don't think I need to. I'm definitely going to fill in behind there, and we'll see if we can get this yeah, strengthened up, and yeah, so it avoids getting any more problems in the past with a different type of switch. Maybe even nipping the metal as well at the same time. See what I can do with this. Now we're just about done. The as you can see there, that's all the hot glue behind this. I'll try and keep it as flat as I can on top, because I'm not 100% certain when this plastic bit doesn't go over the top, it will not be caught by that. It shouldn't, but as long as I keep it on line with the actual mark of there, that should be perfectly fine. So all I need to do now with all of this is this section here needs, because all the plastic on here is a little bit dirty anyway, a bit of isopropyl on here, a bit on the board, get that cleaned. Everything else in here needs to go straight into the sink, washed, and oh, there's metal parts in there. Oh, cool. Okay, straight into the sink, done, sorted, and then it can put back together and we'll be almost done. Quite proud of that. Now, everything's back from the cleaning and done. So let's reassemble. Let's start off with the joystick D-pad. It only goes on one way. I think it's that way. Let me just try the others. Won't fit that way. Won't fit that way. Straddles. Ah, there we go. It does fit on two ways actually. But you want the hold 1, 2, 3 and your straight parts there. Your curved bit on there goes to the bottom. That goes on there like that. And this metal clip goes in. So launch side to the bottom, top side on. That holds that in place. Now what I want to do is put these two thumb pads back on. 1 and 2, because I'll forget those later. Need to reattach the Wi-Fi button, which goes in one way only. Part there, part there. It's kind of awkward to get in. You've got this longer section here, slides into there, and we're done. The next part isn't that, and I've hidden it, which is this part here. So as long as your Wi-Fi button is in, you're fine. Bottom side on first, or top side, you think? And a bit of either. Slide her in. It's getting tricky going over the USB port there. There we go. A little bit of whittling. I think we're stuck over the top triggers as well. That's a little awkward. That's really awkward. Okay, maybe the top section first, then bottom on. No, that doesn't seem to go right either. What are we missing? Part of plastic holding down the USB port. Triggers are just in the way a little. Doesn't feel like it goes. Is that on? That's not on. That's bent out. That's not gone in right. Okay. Because that's over there. That's not right at all. Oh. So this is really awkward then. My version's easier because it's already on and it's easy to do. It's that USB port that's caused me the problem. I don't know why. If you're doing this yourself, then hang on a second while we get this back out again. Come on, there we go. So maybe the plastic goes... The plastic there goes through there? No, but it has to go over. I can't have been right. Can't can't go into. Feels like it goes into it. That's weird. That's not right at all. Definitely holds the USB port in, but it just doesn't look right. It's got a clip around the back of it, hasn't it? Ah, there we go. Oh, that's really awkward. The one piece we had to take off is really awkward to put back on again. There we go. Right, finally, it's come back through. Plastic goes around back of the USB port comes through. That's clicking, that's clicking, that's clicking. So, back around again. Motor back in place yet again. I'm going to try not to trap the motors in the plastic bits there, because when it vibrates it might do something, might do some damage, you never know. Back part. Got Wi-Fi in, yep. That button is not in right. There we go. Better. Buttons in. Buttons on. Put the bottom on first. With the help by pressing the triggers down a little. That goes into place snugly like that. Top part sits on top. We had a little bit of an issue. One of these plastic parts broke off, but it's glued into place. One over here is cracked as well, but you're going to get nothing but problems with these. That just sits on top. And if I find my old screwdriver, if I put the one in the middle in first, that should hold everything else in place. There's no need for an electric screwdriver on this. It's kind of easy enough anyway. So now it's now held everything in place. Another screw over here. It doesn't matter which way around these four go. In place. Get that in the hole there. Can't get that in the hole. Try to use a pair of tweezers maybe. Goes. Missed the screw completely then. There's two in, feeling quite solid. Right, we've got a problem there. My trigger isn't in properly, so just pull out a little bit and push that back in. That seems fine. Back in place. Final screw over here. It'll be going through. That's the plastic one that I broke from there anyway. Right, I'm not entirely happy with that, so I'm going to dismantle a little bit, because that trigger doesn't feel right, doesn't feel as well as the other one. Something's not entirely right there. Give me a second to see what I've done wrong, what I've got to correct on this. I'll be back to you in a second. Right, we're back together. I warned you about this earlier, and I should have remembered it, to be honest. That trigger button wouldn't go back in because these two connections here for the battery, one of them was out in the way, so it was catching it every time I went down. So make sure they're either bent forward or they're actually into the battery compartment when it goes in. That looks about right. So, back on with these. These just clip only in one way, both kind of different from each other. So click and in, done. Make sure your trigger button works. In the other side, make sure your trigger button works, and that's about it. All I need to do is put the batteries in the right way. Now the connector's on the right part. Match it in, done, and it's happy, sorted. Now I'm going to pair with the PC. The PC is now showing, configuring, doing the swirl. Watch the controller, configure I can do, there's the 3 dots and then there's the testing part. So A, B, C, D works fine. Up, down, left, right, button, up, down, left, right, button, up, down, left, right. Select, start, trigger, 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 and perfect. Left trigger button was the problem. Every time I'm pressing, it's coming on, absolutely. Perfect. Done, sorted. So it's not too difficult to replace parts on this. With me doing that one and replacing the joystick part, yes, you can get access to it once you got into the shell. Same with the trigger buttons. The other ones may be a little bit different. I'm not entirely certain. I've not had one go just yet, but definitely that left trigger button is that's coming on there on the test program every single time. LB. RB, LB, RB. Done, sorted, happy. Now I can give this back to him, and that's job done. Job done. Sorted, a little bit strengthened, bit of repair, everything's fine, and a lot cleaner than what it was. So, definitely worth a strip, definitely worth a try and play around, and that's now worth going through another lots of gaming for the Xbox One. So thanks a lot for watching. Please like and subscribe, follow me on social media. If you can want to consider donating something like this, either to fix or to donate to the channel, and I can play about and do something at my leisure, fine. Description, look in the description or the channel description and get in touch. Other than that, I'll see you in another video. Bye for now.